Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here and welcome back to Manga First Impressions, the series where I take a look at volume 1s of various mangas that I've picked up wherever I've read through, and I give you like a little summary of them, a little quick synopsis, not really spoilery or anything like that, I just give you a little quick glimpse into what the manga itself is like, whether or not you should pick it up, my thoughts on it, whether I'm going to continue or not, or whether I've already continued it and I've come to some thoughts and my feelings on the series as a whole. Next up, we're actually going to be choosing, it's quite a short series, I'll admit. I picked this one up. I've actually read through the entire collection and whatnot for this series. The series in particular we're talking about is Dictatorial Grimoire. Now, immediately, Grimoire made me think of Force of Will with the Grimm cluster. So this is one of the main reasons I picked this up. This was actually, I believe I picked this up 2 years ago or something like that. This is quite an older one. So as you can tell, it's been kind of sitting in my box of manga for a little bit. So the cover is slightly bent or whatever. So my apologies for not being in pristine condition, but it's still readable. So off the top of it, it's just we think Dictatorial Grimoire, what could it be? Obviously, it says Cinderella here at the bottom, which kind of hints as to what this could be about. It could be about fairy tales and whatnot, so let's flip it over, read ourselves a little synopsis here. The book is bigger than normal size manga, I would add, so it's kind of hard to fit into the frame here, but Cinderella was never this dashing. Otogi Grimm, a far-flung descendant of the renowned Grimm brothers, has always regarded the fairy tales his ancestors concocted as pure fiction. Now, the introverted half-Japanese teen is about to discover that the Grimm legacy is anything but pure. Otogi finds a manuscript that reveals the dark truth about the brothers Grimm, and the secret deal they made with beings known as the Marching Demons. With Cinderella as his guide, can Otogi Grimm unlock the power of the manuscript and save himself from a horde of living fairy tales gone wild? So, main kind of idea with this is that obviously this is Grimm here, Otogi Grimm, and this is Cinderella. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything right now because I did enjoy the series, although sadly I will point out this series is only 3 volumes long, and it kills me that it's only 3 volumes long because not really spoilery here, but I feel like the way it ended, because I have read through the entire 3 volumes, it did not end very well. I would say that it badly needed more volumes. I feel like it was kind of either the writer didn't get as many expansions as they wanted, or maybe they just weren't, they didn't get to pitch enough or whatever like that. I just feel like it kind of ended really abruptly and didn't answer a lot of questions or whatever that I had about the series or whatever. So basically, Grimm here, he's, half Japanese or whatever. He discovers a book, a manuscript, as they say. He discovers a book, and from it summons Cinderella. Obviously, Cinderella here is a guy, and there is a reason why he is a guy, because quite a lot of the fairy tales, not all of them, some of them are gender bent, so this one here, not really spoiling anything, but this one is actually Snow White here. This is like Grimm's best friend or whatever, but this is Snow White actually. So the main idea is that the fairy tales, not really too spoiler here, it says in the back, they're marching demons. So they originally were real people, or rather real demonic people, or whatever, that lived back in the days of the Brothers Grimm, and through some means, whatever, their stories got retold as the more innocent retellings as fairy tales, and Grimm kind of goes on a little journey to discover the real origins of some of these fairy tales. Why are they acting so evil when compared to their actual fairy tale story? What was the true story behind them, and why did the Brothers Grimm concoct such nice versions of the story when actually a lot of them were a lot tragic when they explained themselves? I'll have a quick little flip through here just to give you a little glimpse at some of the art style here. It is mainly the art style that really brought me into this. It was a really, really gorgeous kind of mix of art styles here. I really liked it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Force of Will a wee bit. Just, with the very anime-looking things and whatnot. And, you get a kind of, I'm not going to say that it's exactly the same, but I get, kind of almost Black Butler vibes from Cinderella and Grimm here. But it's not to the extent where it's, making a pact with demons and whatnot and everything like that. So it's certainly a very interesting book. There's Snow White there. Snow White is actually very fabulous. Although, for some reason, they keep saying her name is Snow White, but I'm pretty sure it is confirmed that this Snow White is male. Because, if you look at him here, look how fabulous he looks. He is just absolutely fabulous. Although, I'm not quite sure. It's kind of a little bit confusing or whatnot. So, yeah, so it's... But first, mainly, only Cinderella is on the side of Grimm. Eventually, they kind of, recruit more fairy tales to their side, and they're trying to unravel the secrets behind the grimoire. and why Grimm was chosen to find the book or whatever. Why are the demons running amok? Why are they after him? Why are they wanting him dead and whatnot? So it's a very interesting series. I will say that it is like obviously very, very sad that it only had 3 volumes. I feel like there was much more potential with the story. I feel like just within the 3 volumes, way too much is crammed in. They could have spread it out a bit more. Maybe even it didn't need to be like a full like length series. I'd say maybe if it had like 7 would have been a good number for it to explain the story, its characters, its world. It would have been nice to see a more in-depth variety of fairy tales, because I feel like in the last volume they just chucked a bunch of fairy tales in there and didn't really give them as much in-depth look as they did with Snow White and with Cinderella. Like the ones who get the most development, I feel like, are Cinderella and Snow White, and I believe also the 3 Caballeros or something like that. It's the one with the story with the donkey, the bird, and the dog, I think, or is it a cat? I can't remember that story off by heart, whatever, but you know what I mean, that kind of story with the donkey, the thing, and they all stand on top of each other and stuff. So it's very, very interesting. When you first glance at this manga, whatever, you see like, obviously 2 males on the front here and very pretty and whatnot. You'd think, oh, is this kind of aiming itself as being like not a yaoi thing, but like kind of like aiming for that crowd. And it's kind of weird. I feel like it's not. Like, it's more like that way where it's like more like a servant-master loyalty thing. There doesn't really seem to be like romantic undertones or anything like that, considering that Grimm, I believe, I don't know if it says his age at the back, does it? No. It doesn't say his age. I'm pretty sure Grimm is like 14 or is he 15, something like that, but it's more to do with the unraveling of the mystery. That's the main idea of it. And obviously Grimm coming to terms about whether Cinderella truly is his servant, whether Cinderella has actually some other hidden agenda, because he's very mysterious. He won't really talk about himself. He just like insists that he's like to protect Grimm and all this stuff, so it's very mysterious. So it is a really nice read. It's sadly, as I said before, really, really short. I would recommend, if anyone has like a love of manga stories or whatever that take a twist on like fairy tales and whatnot, because that's one of my main things. I love things that pick up like the theme of fairy tales, but they do their own twist on them and whatnot. There's like several manga that I own that have like kind of a similar theme to it, which is one of the things that I mainly love. But if you're interested in this, be sure to give it a read. Try, it's very easy to finish, whatever. It's only 3 volumes long, as I said. You could definitely finish it in like one night or something like that, or in one sitting, if you manage to find all 3 volumes. I would heavily recommend it. Obviously, I'm very sad how short it is and everything like that, but just the art style, the awesome like diversity of characters and whatnot is really nice. The twists they make to the certain like fairy tales and everything like that is really neat. I would highly recommend. So I hope you enjoyed this little recommendation here, guys. Let me know if you are interested in maybe checking out Dictatorial Grimoire, and until next time, guys, I will see you all later.